in one corner of Calgary.
In 26 days, a bright new day will dawn for our province.
Two leaders were squaring off, even if they weren't in the same room.
Stats Can reported just this morning that unemployment claims in Alberta are up by 4.3% last month and 5.4% here in Calgary. Now, the rest of the country, unemployment claims went down, but in Alberta, they went up. Under the NDP, we're going in the wrong direction.
Kenny hit all the right notes with the supporters in the crowd, talking about three things: pipelines, jobs, and economy. He also likened his rival, Rachel Notley, to the unpopular Prime Minister.
Well, who can forget his father, who devastated this economy with his national energy program? Justin Trudeau, who said that he wants to, quote, phase out the oil sands. And then Premier Notley, who openly, I mean, boy, she's been pretty good at trying to cover this up, but the record is clear. She openly opposed Northern Gateway and the Keystone XL pipelines, and her cabinet is filled with people who used to go to these protests, protesting what they call dirty tar sands oil and saying more pipelines. Folks, we have a chance to fire them on Election Day.
While Kenny doubled down on scrapping the carbon tax, promised a fairer deal for Alberta and the Federation, and the use of turning the taps off legislation, Notley called Kenny's plans hurtful to Albertans, most notably the middle class.
Mr. Kenny believes that if you, in that failed old idea, that if you give corporations huge tax cuts and then cut people's wages and send them to work in unsafe working conditions, if you privatize our public health care, if you cut our education spending, well then somehow, magically, the economy will take off. But you know what? You know what, my friends? That's just not true.
Notley is pushing for greater diversification of Alberta's economy and getting our dollar's worth for the resources we already own.
With more refining, more upgrading, and more petrochemical manufacturing over the next decade, it will create 70,000 jobs. And it will generate $75 billion from the private sector in new investment geared towards upgrading and refining and getting more value for the resources that we all own.
Those of you who wonder why on day 3 of the campaign we're seeing Notley and Kenny in the same place at the same time, well, it's believed that Notley dropped into the Calgary Northeast riding to help bolster the chances of the local candidate Gertrude Brar, as the UCP is having some internal squabbles in that riding. In Calgary, Tara Overholt, City News.